Hello everyone. So in my previous video, I have explained what is get schema transformation in Domo Magic ETL. Now in this video, I am going to explain meta select in Domo. Okay. So now first understand what is meta select, then practically we will see how we can use this in Domo. Okay. So what is meta select? Meta select we do use to create output table. Okay, similar as any of the output tables. But this meta select is bit different than other. How? Because in the meta select we need a two input. One input we need schema of the table like column name, data type of that column, and another is data input. Okay, so using these two input, we create output tables, same as any of the output table. Okay, but now the thing is why this is different than other. Because using this meta select, what we can do, we can dynamically rename the columns. We can remove the column dynamically. We can change the type of columns. So we can do many things dynamically on the columns. Okay. So this is the main use of meta select. Now let's understand how can we do these things. So let's come here and click on transform, SQL transform, sorry, transform data, magic ETL. First step is to input data set. Okay. So I'm using this dim customer, okay, as an input data set. Now, next thing, I need one more data. This input data set has a input data. Okay, I need one more data set. The data set that contains the schema. Okay, so here I have two things. Either I can extract the schema from this data set, or what can I do? I need to give one more input that gives only the structure of the data set, like column and column types. So it's better to extract from here only using this get schema. Okay. Okay. Now simply this get schema is giving the schema like a column name, expression, and type. Okay. So this get schema has a structure of the table, and this dim customer has the data. Using two, we can create our one output meta select. Okay. So meta select needs two input. We can see now. Okay. So now what will happen when I run this? This meta select will have exactly the same data that dim customer have. Let's run and preview. So it's done. Now in the preview, let's see the data. We can see we have a same data what we have in the dim customer. Okay, and we have a same number of columns, everything, and there is no change in output, similar as input. Now what is the use? Use is like assume this customer is my input data set, and in the output, uh, before sending or creating output, if we want to work on some transformation, like we want to change the data types of any of the column, or we want to rename the column, or we want to remove the column, or we want to add the columns, many things. Okay, that we can do dynamically. Okay, just assume we have to make a round up to two digit for any of the decimal columns. Okay, so we can apply that transformation here. Sorry. So now assume I have to sorry, assume I have to remove some of the columns. Let me see where we have multiple columns. See, here we have a columns called English occupation, Spanish occupation, French occupation. So assume I have to remove the columns called occupation. Okay. So I can remove like that. Now, how to remove dynamically? Okay. So this is the question. Again, I already told meta select use two input. One input data and other structure. So if I remove this occupation column from the structure, what will happen? Then in the meta select, we will not have this occupations column. Okay, now let's see how to do. First, let me show the preview here. Okay, so here preview, in the preview, we can see we have the data. Okay, and in the data, we have the structures. So let's see where is the previews. Here, yeah, English occupation, Spanish occupation, French occupation. Okay, and in meta select also we have the data. Okay, we can see here English occupation, Spanish occupation, French occupation. Now let's work. Let me apply filter here. Okay, add filter formula. Okay, now let me write the formula. Name. Okay, not like occupation. Okay, so I applied a formula here. I applied filter here. So if any of the name has occupation, then remove that column. Okay, let's save this. Okay, so in the get schema, we can see we have the column name. Okay, in the column name, in the name column, we have a value called occupation, like English occupation, French occupation. We can see Spanish occupation. So I want to remove a column where we have occupation. Okay, so if I don't go with this method, we need to remove if we don't use get schema or meta select, then what we have to do, we need to select columns except these three column, or we need to drop the column except this three. We need to drop these three columns. Okay, if we don't use meta select or get schema. Okay, but if I use get schema or meta select, then I don't need to drop three column, or I don't need to select multiple columns just to remove these three columns. Here everything will happen dynamically. So here we have only three columns. Just assume if we get a more column like Chinese occupation, like American occupation, anything. If we get more column, this filter logic will remove those occupations column from this meta structure. Now let's add here. Now after filter, what is happening from the meta structure? This is removing occupation kind of column. Okay. Now let's run and preview. Let's run preview and see the result. Oh, sorry. Here we need to select input filter rows. Okay, because this filter rows has the new structure. Let's see. Okay, it's completed. Now in the filter row, let's see the data. First, we should not have the occupations column. Yeah, after education, we had the occupation column, but we are not seeing those columns here. Now come to the meta select preview. Okay, just hold for a minute. See, we cannot see after education we had that columns. I mean occupation column, but we can see we don't have any of the occupation column. So if we don't follow this transformation, then just assume we remove three column. Okay, we remove three column. Okay, but what if we get a more column in the input, like American occupation, Indian occupation, any kind of columns? Then in that case, again, we will have this two extra columns in output. But if we use this method, then dynamically we can remove any column that has a name called occupation. So this is the one use. In my next video, I will explain other use like change a data type dynamically, rename column dynamically. Thank you.